Hey guys, this is Lucas from Better Coding Academy, and today I'm going to be going over a project with Benjamin relating to front-end vanilla JavaScript. So Ben, how about you run me through what you've got so far, and we'll just go straight from there.
So right now, when you hover towards the edge of the image, it starts flickering,
Yep,
and it shouldn't be like that. It should just like stop there,
exactly.
and then yeah,
Yep. So I think for this project here, one of the most important considerations is actually realizing that, like, what's important, basically, in terms of the data, right? Because when you have a square here, it's really easy to generate the square based upon quite a few different, like, there are quite a few different ways to generate the square. So if we have a given fixed width and height for the square, which I know we have here in this project,
yep,
then what happens is it can be really easy to just say, okay, I'm going to use the position of the cursor as like the middle and then work out where the box should go. But
right,
then you have to understand that, like, the whole purpose is having image zooming, so that when I put, say, my cursor over here, I should eventually get a pop-up over here which has this section really zoomed out, right? Like
yeah,
really zoomed in. Which means that like the actual coordinates and the dimensions of the box are incredibly important, as opposed to just a single position. So I would argue that even though the position of the box is based upon your cursor, that the cursor is not the most important part, but rather that the actual boundary, like the position of the box, is the most crucial part here. Does that make sense?
When you're saying the box, you're referring to like the box around the cursor, right?
Yeah, the lens. Yeah. So that
The,
box is the most important one, right?
okay,
Because when you go to the edge, for example, the box will end up sticking to the edge. Like the edge is like a
yeah,
boundary, right? But
that's right.
then in that case, it's not exactly completely determined by your cursor location. So it's more important to consider the actual, I guess, location of the box. But then how do we get the location of the box? We need to work it out based upon the cursor. So that's the kind of logic you have to take when you're working with this project here. So let's start here in Visual Studio Code. So you've got the X and the Y. So I assume that the X and the Y is the mouse position relative to... Is this the top left of the... Oh, this is the top left of the box. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's right.
get mouse position gets the
The
eat up
mouse
page.
position based upon the relative to the image, basically.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so get mouse position. Just one comment here is that if you're only really using it in one place here, might not be such a great idea to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is probably fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. This is fine for now. So we do get mouse position E. Okay, so you got mouse position X and Y. So this gives you the relative position of the cursor relative to the image. Yes.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look at that first and foremost, and then we'll
Yep.
worry about the rest of this. So let me just comment out. So this is what I like to do. I like to comment out everything that's not important, especially any console logs, so I don't get confused. Yeah, and then I just do like, no, I'm just leaving it out for now. And I can just do mouse position like that. And then if I do that here, close this, then I will be able to see
Yep.
coordinates coming. Now let me go to the very top here.
Yep.
And and that near 0. And
Yep.
go, yeah, okay, so this is perfect, right? Because we have the exact coordinates for said image.
Yep.
And I see, so you're only doing it for the first image now, which is why you only got that for one.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
that's
is
right.
fine. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to first make sure that mouse position is within the bounds of said image, right?
Uh-huh.
So the general idea of that would be, actually, instead of doing like this here, I'd probably suggest doing like, I mean, if this is the code you've got here, I'd probably do constant here and a constant here as well. And then what I do is have const X and Y, and then I just minus window dot page, like do it all in one go.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, and you'll see why I want to do this, because, well, firstly, you can make it a constant, which is nice. And secondly, I would probably rename this to, let me just rename symbol, mouse X, and this one here, probably call it mouse Y.
Okay.
Oh, that didn't work because it does that. Yeah, but it's too smart for me. Cool. Okay, so mouse X, mouse Y. And the reason I want to do that is because then instead of doing this, I can just directly destructure it, mouse X, mouse Y. Right? So I can have both and I can use them. So now the first check you want to do is you want to check if mouse X and mouse Y are outside of the image, right? So so how do you tell if the cursor is within the image versus outside of the image, right? So how would you do it here?
Well, I did some logic down here. Like if it's less than 0, so the top, right? The top left, well then we want to set the position of X to 0. and then yeah.
Yeah, no, so yeah, okay, sure.
So we have to do each corner like full if checks basically for each corner.
Yeah.
Like each side.
Bridge image. Let me just clarify something else here. So you're doing zoomify a bridge image, you're doing it on the element. So it's probably wise to call this one image EL as opposed to image name. Image name sounds like a string.
Yeah.
So image element here. And then what you probably want to do is, okay, so what you're doing here, let me just kind of go through this a little bit more, is you have a zoom container set up and you also have a hover area, okay?
Yeah.
But what I'm suggesting is that you probably shouldn't have that. So what you should have is you should be able to, using your code, have just an image tag. And the image tag has an ID, of course. And then using that, you can zoom. You can zoom. Yeah, you can figure out, like, put a div on top. Like, you don't really need this. So the way it works is, like, when you hover over the image, then you add in a div to your body, and then it moves with your cursor. And then when you leave the image, then it
removes the child.
It removes it. Exactly. That's right. So my suggestion would be to remove this part of the code, and let's just kind of go off of that. Okay, so let's just go off assuming that you only have an image, because especially when you have something like a zooming thing, you can kind of imagine that this is more or less of a plugin, right? Even though you're writing it, you should have the mindset that it is a plugin. It doesn't depend upon context. Like, it tries to use as little context as possible here. So this is really important. Anyway, so in that case, hover area here. Yes, I'm saying you don't need that. What I'm actually suggesting instead is that you actually do this. So you do what's it called? Get bounding. Okay, so we'll probably call this one bounding rect.
Yeah.
And then we do image element dot. This one's really, really helpful. So get bounding client rectangle. So this is really great, right?
Yeah.
Because what this allows you to do is it gives you a left, a top, and also width and height and all that kind of stuff. So what you actually can do here is basically, let me kind of lay it out for you, and you can write the code here, is that when you have an image on your page and you have a cursor and the cursor has an X and a Y.
Yeah.
Basically, if the X value, like relative to the image, if the X value is less than 0, or if the Y value is less than 0. So it's an or condition. It's not an and condition.
Right.
If either one is less than 0, then it's outside of the image. Like, it's outside on that side. But then if either of them are greater than the width and height respectively of the image, then it is also outside of the image, right? So you kind of have like a total of 8 different...
A lot of ors.
You have 8 different conditions. Not really. So the way I'd say it is, less than 0, y less than 0, and then just 2 more, right? So 2 more or conditions, which would be if x is greater than the width of the rectangle, so greater than bounding rect dot width.
So this is... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you probably want to use the bounding rectangle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, bounding rect dot width.
That's right.
And then or y is greater than. So the reason you want to use bounding rect dot width is because that is slightly different to the dot width.
This is height.
Yeah, the dot width property, because dot width is like really only works on images, I think. So did this one work before?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, so actually I think the only reason that works is because it's on an image.
Right.
Let's just wait, property. Okay, no, that's style though.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No,
but that's only for object. I don't know. Let's have a look at this one. But yeah, you generally, I don't suggest you use it, because I'm pretty sure that it only works with very specific elements. Right. That's my suggestion. I'm not actually too sure. But for your image, what you can actually do is you can obviously set a width and a height or whatever. So let's just do width 500 here, and you can change this later. So that's your image right there, yeah?
Yeah, because I had a class, I think, that actually had a width.
I think your class was based upon the container.
Yeah, it was like screwing up.
Yeah, so you can actually just like, anyways, you fix that up, okay? But for now, we're going to use 500. And in any case, your zoomify function shouldn't depend upon the width and height of the image, right? Like, you shouldn't be like, oh, this only works if it's 550. If it's 549, it breaks. Like, it should be able to support a reasonable set of image sizes. So anyways, if it's less than or greater than, then it's outside, and we don't need to show a moving like hover area rectangle. So something like that. But what I would suggest is you should be able to have a hover area that is added to your page. Like, I guess,
right.
Like it should be able to be toggled on and off.
Yeah, I think.
The way
Yeah,
I'd suggest it is, no, I wouldn't do it there.
Oh no, else basically. So
No.
if it's inside,
No. So
then
what
we
I would
add
do,
create element.
I wouldn't do that. The reason I wouldn't do that is
Okay.
because on mouse move triggers like, you can trigger like 20 times a second, depending on how you move your mouse. So you don't want to add it inside of here. You want to add it when you do zoomify. Okay. So what you do is you add your hover area div here.
Yep.
And then once you have your hover area div there, then inside of on mouse move, you basically decide whether you want to add it to your DOM or remove it from your DOM, right?
Okay.
But what you can do is you can still kind of keep it in here. So you don't have to recreate it like every single time you want to use it. But then it's already here and you just kind of add it or remove it. So the way I do it is probably do like const hover area EL. Like if we're doing EL, we might as well do const hover area EL here. And then do like document dot create element div.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So now let's just grab, let me just grab this. So we have our hover area.
Yeah.
And okay, so that's all fine. So what we can do is for the hover area, we give this one a class. So hover area el.classlist, just add in the class of hover area, was it?
Hover, what's it called? Hover area.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so hover area el.classlist, and then we add hover area to said class. And then what happens is if it is like this, then we can remove it from the page. I think the logic here is...
But then you'd have to move the mouse in order to remove the hover area, right?
Yeah.
But then we don't want to see the hover area if we haven't moved onto the image.
Yeah, no, but this one doesn't add it to the page yet. This one just creates it. Like when you created it,
you have to append. That's right.
Yeah, this one only stores it in memory, right? So then what happens here is I've just done a quick check. Is that we can do that, and then we do document.body contains hover area el. So if it's been added to the page, then what we do is we remove it like that.
Wait. Dot contains. Okay.
Dot contains basically checks if it's inside the.
It already exists. Okay.
And then what we do is we can check. So actually no. The way this works is kind of bad because you can't, when you have these two together, you can't put an else statement here.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because what if it is outside, but it also doesn't contain? Then we can't put an else to append it. So what we should do is we should actually do that. And then we can do
another.
Yeah, you can do another if statement, or you can use this kind of shorthand, which also works. But that's
yeah.
This is probably not very nice. Some people might not understand this, but
I don't
you can fix it up. Doesn't matter. You can fix it up. I don't care.
Fix it up.
So then what we can do here is we can have an else.
Yeah.
Document.body.append child.
That's right.
Hover area el. Right. Sweet.
That's right.
Okay. So now we should be able to do that and see it, but where is it? Let me see.
Oh yeah, it's display none. That's right, the style.
No, but it should be on here. It's not even. Oh, here we're getting an error. Image name. Okay, where are we? Image name. Where are you using image name? Image el. Oh, using it down here. Okay. No, see. Yeah. No, this is not good because that's not meant to change. So. Bounding rect. Okay. Right, so we get rid of that. X is not defined. What is that? Right, so this one is my bad. Mouse X.
Oh, mouse X, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, your bad, not my bad. Save that, and then let's have a look here. Okay, sweet. Seems to be fine. Let's see, okay, there, gone. Okay, sweet. So now you don't need to use display none or not because you can just keep it the whole time. So now you don't have to do that. And it probably still won't display because now it's at the bottom. So it's down there. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we are going to make the hover area move according to our cursor. Right? So you need to now figure out how to move that hover area. And in essence, it's very similar to what you had before. Mm-hmm. So I guess you could kind of still go with the same logic here. But I would probably, X and Y here is quite broad because we already have a lot of things relating to X and Y. So I'd probably maybe call this one, I don't know. I don't want to choose something too long, but maybe
Hover
like
area X.
yeah, maybe
Hover
like hover x, hover y.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so just do like const hover x equals mouse x minus like so equals mouse x minus you can use the bounding client rect. So what we can do is just use minus bounding rect dot width divided by 2.
Oh yeah, because we don't need that.
And then just duplicate that line and change it to height and change it to y. That's it.
Mm.
No, don't duplicate it like that. What? No, you press Option Command down.
Nani?
Wait, no, sorry. Option Shift down. My bad.
Option Shift down. Oh,
Yeah, man.
today I learned.
I know, right? And then if you press Option down, it reorders the lines. And Option up.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
okay.
Anyway, and that one changes to height as well. So hover y equals height. Yep. Cool. So now what we're gonna do is just set it, right? So let's just forget about bounds for now, and let's just get hover x, hover y working with regards to setting it. So if you scroll down, I commented out a bit of code that does the left and top. So yeah, just those 2 lines. Just uncomment those and maybe move them up to the top.
So
just Command X and move it up. Yeah.
come on. Oh no, could you like move them up like line by line? No.
Yeah, you could, but
Okay.
slow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you got hover. Okay, so now just change that to hover area EL. That's right, and then use hover X, hover Y. Yeah.
This is oh yeah, hover.
Hover X, hover Y. Sweet. Okay, so now you save that, and let's have a look at your page and see how it goes. Nothing at all. Did I mess up again?
Oh no, it's on the side. It's on the side.
Is it? Where is it?
Yeah. See?
Oh, so it is.
See?
Oh, I know why. Yeah, my bad. We forgot to append. Right, so this is what you need to do. You just need to add to both of these. To hover X, you need to add. So this is why bounding rect is so wonderful, right? Is like we can literally just do this. So we just need to add the offset for the image.
Oh.
Right. So now we've got. Wait, why does that still not work? No, this is this is my fault completely. Not the width and height of the bounding rectangle. Actually, what I would do in this situation is I'd probably store. So it's not meant to be the width and height of the bounding rectangle. It's meant to be the width and height of the hover area. So that was my bad. But I think what you can do here is I think you should store the width and height in like a constant in your JavaScript for now. Like maybe in the future you can kind of like increase and reduce the width and height of it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to kind of have that based in CSS. So you probably can do like hover area size, like const hover area size equals 100, because obviously you have same width and height right now. So if you do that equals 100, then instead of minusing width and height divided by 2, just do
hover area size.
Yep. So this is my bad. Size. Do that. Hover size as well. Sweet. Okay, so now we save. Let's have a look, and bam, right there in the middle, right? So now this part is fine, except the corners aren't really working too nicely. So that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes off perfect. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out how to make this thing basically kind of tone back, right? Because we've got it to a point where it's on a good scale, but we need to kind of tone it back a little. So the way I do that here is, and I mean, this depends how you want to kind of make your code look, but the general idea is you can use math.min and math.max. It's a little bit kind of, I guess, weird. It's a little bit of a weird looking syntax, but it basically works like this, right? It's like if you do, let's just make this a bit bigger. If you do like math.min, right? And let's just say 100 and any number like 5, right? The number, you might get back 5 or 6, but the number you'll never get back a number bigger than 100.
Yeah.
Yep. And in the same way, if I do max.max 0 and I do say 150, I'll get 150. But if I do anything less, I'm always going to get minimum of 0. So math.max helps you to set a minimum, and math.minimum helps you to set a max, if that makes sense.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, okay. So then you can use both. You can use math.min, and we can do like math.min 100 and then math.max 0. And then let's just say you have a value like 150. This will give you 100. Right? If you do minus 150, you'll get 0. So it helps you to bound it within a certain dimension. So what you can do here is you can go into your code and you can write math.min And in this case, the hover x, okay, so this is where it gets like a really like quite complicated. So the math.min here, you want to get the, basically you got to understand the hover x is the top left-hand corner of your hover area. It's the top left corner. So the math.min, actually let's do math.max first because it's easy, right? 0, right? So it's, okay. But then we do math.min, and math.min, the minimum value you want is basically bounding rect.width minus hover area size. Right? Because we want the rightmost edge, which is hover area size 100 pixels over from the leftmost edge, to be within the image. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then we do like comma like that, and then 2 round brackets at the end. Make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Let's try that first, and we'll come back. So now, okay, broken, great. Let's see why. Get on my face. Left top. Okay, left is not changing. Oh my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. So move that outside. Yeah, because this math.max, math.min is relative to the image, but we need to consider the relative positioning. Like we need to consider the positioning of the actual image itself as separate to the math.max, math.min, right? Because this part here is always the same. Like we need to kind of consider that. So we can just move that outside. So now you've got that, and it should do that, and then it should do that, right? So now the top edge obviously still goes off, and the bottom edge still goes off. So how about you write the code to fix that?
Okay, that's basically.
Yeah, so math.max 0, math.min, and then just height and hover area size as well.
So it's
and you see, with these kinds of things, you start getting into like, I guess, certain edge cases. So like, for example, what if the bounding rectangle or bounding square, sorry, the hover square that you have, what if it has a height that is greater than the height of the image? Then your math.min will be negative. So then technically, it just gets really weird, right? So like these kinds of edge cases, we don't have to consider for this case, but just understand that like they definitely do exist, and it's important to realize that they exist, right? Like in certain circumstances, especially if you're building like a plugin for other people to use, right? So now we've got this here.
Oh god, what did I do?
What did you do? Good question. Let's have a look here. Okay. No styles being applied. Bounding. What'd you write bounding for? Where is that? Bounding rect. Yeah. You got wrecked, haha. I like how you just wrote react.
React.
Like, yeah, I know. Okay, let's just see it. Yeah, okay, so top, nope. Still don't have it. Why? It's awkward, like, it's awkward positioning down the bottom, though. Maybe it's because we scrolled. It's actually why.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, okay. So, this one doesn't take into consideration scrolling, which kind of sucks.
It's supposed to, right?
It is, yeah. So, the hover Y and the hover X, because you need to understand that your hover area here has position absolute. And what that means is that it goes from the very top of well, in this case, it goes from the very top of the page, because its next relative container up is the body element, and the body element is like your whole page. So it starts from the very top of your page, and it starts from the very left of your page. So with those considerations in mind, what happens here is that we need to understand that we need to take into account both vertical and horizontal scrolling.
Yeah.
So we take that into account when we're doing a hover Y, and also when we're doing a hover X here. So the way it works, and I can never remember exactly what it is, but I think it's window.scrollY. Might be wrong. So 0, and then if we scroll down, 3 or 4, perfect, yeah. So I think this is how it works. Window.scrollY plus, we copy that, window.scrollX plus, and let's see if that works, right? So, nope, not at all. Well, it kind of works here. Oh, but then it goes off. I see why.
Yeah.
So that's because of this part here. Now, this part here is broken because of this part here. This part's actually not broken, because this part uses the width and the height. It's all relative, right? But like your relative coordinates are wrong. So the reason your relative coordinates are wrong is because
these are wrong.
Exactly, right? So you've got bounding rect.left.top the page X and Y. Let me see. Wait, let me think about this for a second. I think that you actually don't need this. I'm not certain, but I think you don't need that.
Okay.
Because let's just say that you've scrolled down until your image is square in line with the top of the page, right? So like your image is literally at the top of your viewport. And then if you take your cursor, so so I think we should use client Y and client X.
Right.
And the reason for that is because, like I said before, if your image is scrolled to the very top of your page, then what will happen is if your cursor's at the very top of the page, then client Y will be 0 and bounding rect.top will also be 0 because it's at the very top of your page. So maybe client Y here.
Yep.
And client X. And this actually just brought up another consideration for me, which is that what if we scroll when you're like during your mouse move? Like what if you scroll and then you move your mouse? Like what happens then? So I think we might actually need to do bounding rect inside of on mouse move, but I'm gonna have to. We'll see how that goes, and we'll go from there. So let's have a look here, and there you go, sort of. So it's getting the bottom edge wrong, but it seems to be, okay. So this is what I was talking about. So if you don't scroll, it is fine. Like if you don't scroll, like what I mean by if you don't scroll is like if you don't scroll after you load the page, it works fine. Like if I scroll down now, like, let's scroll here, and I reload. You see that it works fine, right? But the problem is that when you scroll, so the reason that it breaks is because our bounding rect is not getting recalculated, okay?
Right.
And part of, I guess, the deeper problem here is that when your bounding rect gets recalculated, then this function also breaks because technically this only works if your bounding rect is outside of that function, right? Because if it has access to it. So what I would suggest here is actually just, getting rid of those two lines here and screwing the function and just doing that and then taking your bounding rect and moving it inside here. So we can do this like that, yeah?
Right.
Oh, my bad. So in there.
Inside,
So yeah. So then what this will allow you to do is basically have this recalculate every time you move your mouse, which I guess could be more efficient, but for now that's fine. See? So now you got that. That's fine.
Yep.
And when you scroll, still fine. Okay. Now let's see how it works with all the images enabled here. So what I'm going to do is you can keep the zoom container because that's kind of useless right now anyways. I'm just being serious, man. Come on.
Yeah, no.
So bridge image
Get
here,
rid of it. Yeah.
sunset image, Bible image. So what you can do is just boom, boom, const sunset, and then const Bible, and then we do sunset here.
Yep.
And then Bible here like that, and then bridge sunset Bible. Sweet. Okay. So now we save that and we try it. So we've got the bam. That's good. Perfect.
Awesome.
Great. Scroll again. Scroll again. Down, down, down. There we go. Got that. And Bible image. Yeah. Okay. So now, there you go. So I've got that part working, and I think we'll kind of just cut it off here at this point.
Sure.
But let's kind of discuss and see how we can kind of move forward from here, like what your next step should be. So you'll notice something, which is that by doing this, what I've actually set up and what we've set up here is we have a hover X and a hover Y.
Yep.
Which determines the position of your hover area on the page. But that's actually not the most important calculation. Like this thing looks very important. It looks kind of, beefy, meaty, but it's not the number that is crucial to us. This is only kind of like for display purposes. It's not really valuable data, right? But the actual value that's really important here is mouse X and mouse Y. When you have mouse X and mouse Y, what you've done here is this determines essentially the relative location of your cursor to your whole image, right? But then what we've done here, and this is something what we should actually like move out here, is we've got bounding rect dot. Let me just finish my thought here. So I think my thought here is this, okay? So when we have, right, so what we actually need to do here is we need to actually take these two variables and we need to separate out something else, okay? So what we should actually have here is we should have hover X, hover Y. Like this is fine, but I think we should take this thing here and we should move it out into a separate variable here. So I'd probably call that variable, maybe we'll call it like const relative hover X equals that. and then plus relative hover x here, and do the same for hover y. So I'd grab that, I'd probably do that, and then paste this here, y there, and then plus relative hover y. So the reason I want to do this is because this number to us is not really that important, these two numbers, because they include the scrolling, they include the location of your image. They're not actually relevant to helping us zoom in on the image and show a zoom, like a zoomed image, right? But what's actually really important are these two numbers here, because these two numbers define the top left coordinates of your hover area relative to your image. And that's incredibly important because if you combine that with the hover area size, then now what you have is you have this, essentially the lens, and you have the area that you want to zoom in on. So now that you know where that area is, you can take that and you can style a different div to have the same background image and to move that around in the right position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So these two numbers here are incredibly important. These two are less important. These two are almost like visual data, right? Okay. So that's what I would suggest from here is take relative hover x, relative hover y, and expand upon those, and then see what you can do from there.
Yep.
But that's all I've got for you guys in this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this paired programming session here with Ben. This has been Lucas with Better Coding Academy, and see you guys later.